When most people try and fix their posture, they often resort to pec stretching to try and fix it. And while it does sound logical and most people tell you to do this, most people don't see the results they're looking for when doing this. And this is because stretching your pecs addresses the symptoms of rounded shoulders, not the cause. So in this video, I want to go over why pec stretches aren't fixing your rounded shoulders and what actually is causing your rounded shoulders so you can see improvements. Agenda for this video. First, I'll be going over why tight pecs aren't the problem. Then I'll go over what actually causes rounded shoulders. And then I'll give you an exercise that you can try today. So first, why tight pecs aren't the problem. Now, before I go over tight pecs and fixing your posture, I do want to address the fact that posture looks different on everybody. We can see Sean O'Malley here on the left. He has an asymmetrical physique. He actually has a typical right BC pattern. You can see his right side is more compressed, his left side is more expanded, right shoulder is more internally rotated and a little bit lower, and then left shoulder is externally rotated and a little bit higher. But he was a UFC champion. He's one of the best strikers in the world. Yet his posture is asymmetrical. And I honestly tend to lean towards Sean O'Malley's posture. It's because of the natural asymmetries of the body. Then we have Usain Bolt here. Usain Bolt has anterior pelvic tilt and scoliosis. I don't know if he has scoliosis or if he's just leaning towards the side here, but he's the world's fastest human. Yeah, he has an anterior pelvic tilt. And then I have two pictures of Ronaldo. People find Ronaldo handsome. They find him attractive. Obviously, I don't find him attractive, but some people do. And his physique here in the middle, or this one on the left here, is a bit asymmetrical. He's actually the opposite of Sean O'Malley. He has a right shoulder that's a little bit more externally rotated and a left shoulder is more internally rotated, which makes me think that maybe he's like lateralized to the left, even though most people are lateralized to the right. It's possible. You would have to actually do the appropriate tests and measures to figure that out, but it's possible. Ronaldo also has like duck feet. His toes are kind of pointed out a little bit. And then this other picture here shows that he has a little bit of a nerd neck. Yet, again, women find this guy really attractive and his posture is not perfect. And also, of course, he performs at a high level. All these people here that I just showed you don't have perfect posture, but they perform at a high level. And there are many factors that impact your posture, like genetic skeletal structure. So everybody comes in different shapes and sizes. What I'm trying to say is that if you feel great and perform great, there's nothing wrong with having bad posture. If you are like Sean O'Malley here and you have issues, for example, I had Sean O'Malley's posture and I had right neck tension, right temporalis tension, and migraines, okay, then we want to address that. But if you feel great and perform great, yes, it's good to take the asymmetries of the body into consideration and to try and optimize your posture to some degree, but there's nothing wrong with having bad posture. And it's also okay to want to fix it for cosmetic reasons. Maybe you have rounded shoulders watching this video and you don't experience any pain, but you just want to fix it for cosmetic reasons. That's fine. But also remember that you're perfect the way you are. So I just wanted to address that part. You're perfect the way you are. If you have rounded shoulders and no symptoms, it's also cool to try and fix it for cosmetic reasons, but you're perfect the way you are. I know I said that a couple times, but I think that's really important. So what everyone tells you about tight pecs, and this is why I learned in physical therapy school, which is crazy. I think this is a topic for another day, but I think physical therapy or like universities often teach outdated information. Some people might get mad at me for saying that. Other people will say I'm based. But no, just want to throw that out there. So everyone tells you that tight muscles pull you into bad posture. So we see here with this dude, we'll call him Billy. With Billy here, it says he has tight pecs. And those tight pecs, of course, are going to be pulling you forward, right into the slouch position, bringing your shoulders forward, creating that rounded shoulders look. And apparently Billy here has weak lower traps and serratus anterior that aren't bringing those shoulder blades back, right? And of course, like I just said, rounded shoulders equals tight pecs and weak upper back. That's what I learned in physical therapy school, and I taught people. And like I said earlier, university teachings often use outdated information. That's something that I often do. I'll like talk before a point that I put in there, but whatever. Yeah. That's what I learned in physical therapy school. I taught people. You even see in some of my earlier videos that that's what I was telling people to do. And maybe some people can see some improvements, but for the most part, you're not going to see great improvements with that because, again, you're addressing symptoms, not the cause. This is really, really important, and I want you to say this out loud. Your muscles respond to joint position, not the other way around. Okay? Your muscles respond to joint position, not the other way around. Okay? A lot of people think that your joint is impacted by your muscles when in reality the joint position impacts the muscles. I know it's crazy, but it's true. Your muscles do not pull your joint into different positions, but rather respond to the position your joint is in. Here are some examples. Joint position impacts leverage. So we got bodybuilder Mike Israel here. I did not make this edit, by the way. This is one I just found online. Are your lats working optimally here, or are they just weak, right? If you tried to test someone's lats here, they'd probably be pretty weak. No, they just have terrible leverage there. Like, if you look at this graph here, you can see that on this x-axis here, it's joint angles in degrees, and then on the y-axis, it says moment arm. So the further down it is, the better leverage the muscle has pretty much, and the higher up it is, the worse leverage it has. If you go all the way to joint angle, which is 120 degrees, which is right about like here, the lats have terrible leverage, and Mike Israel is even higher than that. And you can see like all of the muscles here, right? The latissimus has 3 regions, so all the regions of the lats don't have good leverage when you have your arm overhead. Yet, people are going to say that your muscle is weak if it's not working well there, or that's the logic that people use when it comes to posture. It's like, no, the lats are just in a terrible position, so of course they're going to be weak. Hopefully that makes sense, but just understand that muscles are weak when they're in a bad position, and that also applies to your posture. And like I said, your upper back muscles can't work like they should be because those muscles have terrible leverage. Next, when it comes to tight muscles, muscles aren't short. Muscle tightness equals short muscles. So we want to be stretching those, right? We want to be doing those pec stretches. Here's another key. Okay, I'm probably blowing your mind here because, I mean, when I learned this stuff, it also blew my mind. Most muscles already have sufficient length to access virtually any normal human movement imaginable, which is why I'm not a big fan of stretching, because stretching just improves your stretch tolerance, and it's very, very rare where someone will have an issue where their muscle is actually short. So yeah, it's extremely rare that muscles adapt and actually lose length. So what causes muscles to be tight or to feel tight? Well, there's one reason, which is they're lengthened to begin with. So here we have an anterior pelvic tilt, right? And whenever you have an anterior pelvic tilt, that lengthens the hamstrings, right? Yet people with an anterior pelvic tilt, especially if they're unaware of it, will be like, man, I have tight hamstrings, I need to stretch my hamstrings. Well, the reason why your hamstrings feel tight is because they're lengthened all the time because you have an anterior pelvic tilt, right? So that's one reason why muscles may feel tight. Reason number 2, your nervous system feels the need to restrict movement. Your nervous system decides the active length of your muscles. Tight pecs are often due to your nervous system feeling the need to create active tension on the pecs for stability and to preserve airflow. That's should be blowing your mind there, okay? Tight pecs are due to the nervous system feeling the need to create active tension on the pecs for stability and preserve airflow. The other thing with people with rounded shoulders too is like, do you really feel that your pecs are tight, or do you just think your pecs are tight so you stretch them? It's like most people don't even feel that their pecs are tight, but you know, just saying. So what actually causes rounded shoulders? Remember the rib cage. This is so vital. When you watch my channel, I talk about the rib cage a lot, and I'll be continuing to talk about the rib cage a lot as well because it's so important. When it comes to upper body biomechanics, it's important, but even lower body as well, because you know the body's an entire unit, not isolated segments. So your shoulder blades rest on the rib cage, right? My shoulder blades are here; they're resting on my rib cage. This has a massive impact on shoulder mechanics and posture. When your thorax tilts forward, your shoulders round forward. So when your thorax tilts forward, your shoulders kind of follow along with them. But what causes your thorax to tilt forward? Anterior tilted thorax, the main cause. decreased ability to expand anterior rib cage. So anterior, if you don't know what anterior means front. Anterior compression of the rib cage. So here's the front of your rib cage. If it's compressed, boom, shoulders are rounded. You know this if you're present with decreased shoulder internal rotation, because you lose internal rotation space, right? When you have rounded shoulders, you lose internal rotation space. So a good way to test this out is to go on the floor, go on your bed, lie on your back. I like to do a full exhale before I do it, so do a full exhale. So it's like full exhale. Keep your shoulder at around like 90 degrees here, and then internally rotate until you feel natural restriction. Like, don't force it. Like, until you feel a natural restriction of shoulder internal rotation, then stop. Right? Just again, natural restriction or natural stopping point. Don't force it. And a big thing when it comes to testing your internal rotation is a lot of people will have their shoulder hike up and their shoulder blade come off the ground, or off your bed or whatever. So just keep it there, go, and just do it until you feel a natural stopping point. If you're present with decreased shoulder internal rotation, so less than 90 degrees, you likely have rounded shoulders. So a good way to test if you're making progress is your shoulder internal rotation getting better, right? That's why it's really nice to be working with someone who knows what they're doing. So if you are someone who struggles with rounded shoulders or any other postural issues, be sure to book a call with me and I'll go over exactly how I can help you so that you fix your posture, move better, and also build a great physique in the process. But now, how to fix rounded shoulders. We want to expand the anterior rib cage, okay? We don't need to be stretching our pecs because they're just a result of the rounded shoulders. The actual way that we fix rounded shoulders is to expand the anterior rib cage, right? And honestly, if that's the only problem you have, you'll see great improvements. A lot of people won't just have issues at the rib cage, like they'll have issues at the pelvis as well. But for the sake of this video, fixing rounded shoulders, expand anterior rib cage. So here's an exercise you can try today to expand the anterior rib cage, therefore fixing your rounded shoulders. So this exercise, which I really like, is called the supine chest opener. So me right here, supine chest opener. So the reason why this works is because scapula external rotation will lead to anterior rib cage expansion, okay? We're essentially like compressing areas that we want to restrict air getting into, and so that we're forced to get air into areas that we're restricted in. So anterior rib cage expansion. Breathing is huge here. So if you watch my channel, you know that breathing drills are very important, and that's what I'm doing here, by the way. So let me go over the setup first, and then I'll go over how to do the breathing drill. So setup, you can use a chair. I'm at my gym, so I'm just using a box. And you want to have like a roughly like 90 position of your hips and of your knees. And then you want to slightly engage your hamstrings by digging your heels into the box. This will neutralize your pelvis, so you should be feeling like your back against the ground or whatever you're on. Then I have 2 yoga blocks for my external rotation. If you lack external rotation, or for my hands, if you lack external rotation, stacking 2 blocks will be a better idea, but just, it doesn't have to be blocks, it can be books. Just find something to elevate your hands slightly. Because what happens if you don't elevate your hands is if you can't get your arms on the ground, then you start to arch, right? So elevate your hands, and then I have a towel roll like right there underneath my neck. That's really important for those of you who are like me, who tend to breathe with your neck. So you should not be feeling your neck there. So I would suggest getting a towel roll so that you can comfortably look straight up to the sky. So when you're doing this, you want to inhale through your nose and then full exhale with a relaxed jaw. And you should feel the ribs come down and the obliques turn on. So relaxed jaw. This might look weird, but I'm going to do it just for you guys. So promise not to take a picture of me. So whenever you're doing full exhale, it's should be like 5 to 10 seconds long. Should be kind of long. And you should feel your ribs come down and your obliques turn on. Like whenever I do that, I feel my obliques engaging like crazy. And your obliques really turn on whenever you're doing a full exhale. That like last little bit of air you have, that's when you really feel those obliques turn on. After you fully exhale, you want to hold your breath for 3 to 5 seconds with the tongue on the roof of your mouth. So you do it, and then hold it, and then breathe in through your nose. When it comes to breathing in through your nose, like, you can think about bringing air to your chest or to the front of your rib cage. It's going to be going, if you're doing it right, it will be going to the front of your rib cage, but it's something you can think about, and don't force the inhale. Just inhale and you're good to go. When you're doing these breathing exercises, the most important thing is to relax. Like, so many people are all tensed up when they're doing it. Like, they're trying too hard. Like, relax, okay? Let the muscles that need to be engage, and then let the airflow go to wherever we need the air to go. And then repeat that, right? You want to be doing this for 5 breaths each set. It's really important that you focus on high quality breaths, okay? Don't rush these breaths. Make sure you're focusing on high quality breaths. A full exhale with a relaxed jaw is so important. Now, how often should you be doing this? For best results, do 5 sets twice per day. It is kind of a lot, but 5 sets twice per day is going to be the best way to get amazing results doing this. If you're someone who doesn't have crazy rounded shoulders, or you don't have any symptoms of rounded shoulders and you kind of just want to do it just for cosmetic reasons and you don't really care that much, just doing like 2 to 3 sets before and after your workout will be a good way to go about it, or even just 2 to 3 before your workout. I find the best times to do it are before and after lifting, as placing a new habit by an old habit makes it easier for you to stay consistent. Whenever I was first doing my breathing drills, I would try and do it just like whenever I felt like doing it, or like before I went to bed, and I would be like so tired that I wouldn't end up doing it. So whenever I put it before and after lifting, that's when I got really consistent and I saw great results doing breathing resets. Summary of this video. 1. Rounded shoulders are not caused by tight and weak muscles. Anterior rib cage compression causes rounded shoulders, so we must expand that area. And to fix rounded shoulders, add breathing drills that expand the anterior rib cage. Thanks for watching this video. If you want more information like this on how to fix your posture, train the right way, be sure to join my free community. I'm going to leave a link in the description. And subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed and want more content like this.